What's the fastest way to build core strength? What we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to look at the core, how it works, and we're going to look at some stages that you need to go through and some exercises that fit into those stages, which will help you build your core strength as fast as you can. If you want to build your core strength and stability, please click the link below, go through to my How to Build Core Strength and Stability online course, and on there you'll have a deep dive into how to build core strength and stability. You'll have tutorials, you'll have workshops so you can hone technique, and you'll have workouts that you can build your core strength and stability as well. So how do you build core strength fast? Well, it's not going to be done with a couple of exercises, and it's not going to be done in a couple of weeks. We've got to think about it a little bit longer term, and we've got to build some pieces and build a foundation so that when we get to a certain level, our core strength and stability will just kind of explode, and you're going to have the strongest core that you've ever had. So what we need to be able to do, first of all, is know where you are and know where or how we need to get there. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with something called core endurance. So stage one is core endurance, which is the first part in how you go about building core strength and stability. Now, what is core endurance? It's basically the ability to hold a position or to use a muscle or group of muscles over a period of time and resist fatigue. So 3 basic exercises, and in some respects sort of 3 markers for you as well. So it's a plank, it's a side plank, and it's a single leg bridge. So we want to be able to, let's just say, hold a plank for a minute, side plank for 45 seconds, and a single leg bridge for 45 seconds each side as well. So that is kind of our stages. So if you aren't necessarily at that stage, that's where you want to get to first. So you want to be doing planks, side planks, and bridges, and building up to a minute, 45 seconds, and 45 seconds for the single leg bridge. So with regards to the plank, it is just a case of holding for as long as you can in that position. So first of all, you need to know how long you can lift for. So time a plank. So that's the first thing. Can you hold it for a minute? If you can't hold it for a minute, let's just say you can hold it for 20 seconds. It doesn't mean that you have to hold a plank and then just keep holding it 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 50 seconds, then up to a minute. What you can do to sort of fast track that process is do it in intervals. Do it in 10-second intervals, 10 seconds with a 5-second break. So you would come into this position and then hold for 10 seconds, drop for 5 seconds, come up for 10 seconds, drop for 5 seconds, come up for 10 seconds, drop for 5 seconds. So if you can do that 3 or 4 times, you've essentially held a plank for 30 to 40 seconds, but you've just had these 5-second breaks in between. That's building endurance because it's giving the muscles time to clear the waste product. So you're building the infrastructure within your muscle to clear that waste product. So that when you then go back to holding for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, because you've got the infrastructure there to clear it as you're doing it, that's what your body will do, and you'll hold it for longer. So that's kind of the first thing that you need to do, is build it in intervals. And the side plank is exactly the same. So when you come into the side plank, you would start, let's just say, in this position. So you would come into this position. So there's your, let's just say, resting position. Then you come up into the full side plank for 10 seconds. Then you drop the knee down. Rest, come up. Rest, come up. So again, that would be 10 seconds up, 5 seconds down, 10 seconds up, 5 seconds down. Build that endurance, allow the body to build the infrastructure, to move to clear the waste, and then come back up and hold and hold and hold, and build that up to 45 seconds. So we've got the plank, we've got the side plank, using the intervals. Then we're talking about single leg bridge. Single leg bridge, very simple exercise. We come into this position, we lift the hips, and we lift a leg. And we want to hold that 45 seconds this side and 45 seconds this side. Now, again, if you can't do that straight away, how do you do it? Start with a double leg bridge. So come down and lift. Squeeze here. Again, if you need to, come down, clear the waste product. Come up, hold, come down, clear the waste product. Build the infrastructure. allow the body to clear the waist. Then what you could start to do, you can come into this position and you can go into some sort of march. So we're now starting single leg. Single leg. So this may be just 5 seconds at a time. Holding there and just alternating. Allowing clear this one, work this one. Right? Clear this one, work this one. So we're alternating all the way through, and then we can go into single leg bridge. And again, we can build that up. 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 45 seconds. So we've got to build core endurance first. So the muscles not only know how to activate, but also they know how to clear the waste product so we can then keep them activated for longer. This is the foundation to how you build core strength fast. Stage 2 is core stability. Now, these overlap. So you don't just work on core endurance first and then stop that and then work on core stability. They overlap, they sort of weave together and work that way. But we've got to build both of these before we can go about building the core strength on top. Now, how do we build core stability? Well, what is core stability? Core stability is about muscle timing. So there's an element of balance and there is an element of smoothness of movement and control. So there's lightness to it and there's smoothness to it. So what does that look like as exercises? Well, with regards to how do we know we've got core stability, it would be a narrow bird dog. So knees and hands right next to each other. Out we go, and we're able to maintain the position through and hold. And again, we're nice and smooth with it. So that would show that there is a degree of core stability. Stability through the hips, the spine, and the shoulders. Again, they're staying nice and level when I move, and also the leg and the arm is coming up smoothly as well. So that would be a representation of how that is done. Now again, how do we build towards that? Very simple. We start with a normal bird dog. So we come a little bit wider. So we've got a wider base, so our balance is affected. So if I was in the narrow bird dog, and I was like, oh, and that was happening, that would tell me I need to do a more of a normal wide base bird dog. So I need to be in this position because I haven't got the control, I haven't got the smoothness of movement when I'm lifting the arm and the leg, so I don't have the stability and the balance through the hip, the spine, and the shoulders. So I come into this position and I hold here. So I get that up to a point, then I bring it a bit narrower. Get that to a point, so on and so forth. Then I bring it narrow, and then I go and I gain that stability. Another exercise we can go for is coming up onto our feet. Now this is more for hip stability. There will be ankle stability in here as well, but there is also good core stability. So again, as we come over, this back leg goes nice and straight, lock the knee, toes up to the shin, hold there, feel the glute squeeze, and also arms, feel the lats, feel the tummy. So again, that will be nice and smooth. We can also add in movement. So again, we want that smooth movement. Again, if we're sort of coming, we're all over the place, then we don't have the stability, we don't have the balance, we don't have the smoothness of movement, and we don't have the control, which is what core stability is. It's having that control all the way through the movement. So we need to be able to build the core endurance first, and as well as the core stability. What comes next is the core strength. The next stage on top is the core strength. Now we're going to add sort of all of the, let's just say all of three together. So there's going to be an element of endurance because we're going to be holding a posture for a long time. There's going to be an element of stability because we're going to be lifting some limbs. So muscles have to control and time at the right time. And then because we're lifting the limbs, there has to be core strength on top of that to be able to build that, or to be able to hold that posture. So the first one we're going to do is a plank, and we're going to lift an arm up and put it on our back. So we come down into position. So when I work with people, this is the kind of process that I work through, is I get them to a level where they can hold a plank. We're clearing the waist, plank, side plank, bridge, like we talked about at the start of the tutorial. Now we can start including some of these exercises into it. So we would come into this position, narrow elbows, wide feet, and we would lift up. So the endurance comes from being able to hold this position for a prolonged period of time whilst the body can resist fatigue. So that's the endurance part of it. The stability part of it is that when I lift a limb up, so when I lift my arm up, what my hips don't do is all this. They're not rolling, they're not weight shifting, I'm not picking them up and I'm not dropping them down. They're maintaining a centered posture. Like so. That shows good control, that shows smoothness of movement from the arm, it shows good strength because I'm able to hold that position, and when a limb comes up, muscles have to work harder, and it shows endurance because I can do it for a long period of time. The second exercise is a side plank like we've done, but this time with a leg raise. So the exact same idea is happening in the side plank as it is with the plank. Endurance is being able to hold it. Stability is when I come up, I don't go up and drop it down. I'm able to maintain centered hips, smooth movement, because again, what some people will do is they'll go like that really quickly. That shows that the muscle doesn't have the strength and potentially doesn't have the stability to hold it in place. And then obviously the strength there, because the side of the body's got to work harder when one foot gets lifted off the other, because it's only one leg holding the body up. So we've got the endurance, we've got the strength, we've got the stability. The final one is the bridge, which is the single leg bridge. So again, we've got this position, we've got the bridge, but then what we can do is we can add in a thrust to it. So we're not only holding, we're also adding the thrust to it. So we've got, again, the endurance, the stability, and the strength. We've got that smoothness of movement, we've got the strength to be able to come up and down a number of times, and we've got the endurance to do it for a prolonged period of time as well. So if you want to build core strength and stability fast, build the endurance first with the stability, and then layer on top of that the core strength, endurance and stability with exercises like this. Many thanks for watching. If you've liked the content, hit the like button. If you've got a comment or a question, leave it down below in the comment section. If you want to watch more of this type of content, please do hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, and you'll be notified when I release my next one.